Welcome to the Cellar podcast. We believe that God is at work, restoring broken lives, families, and neighborhoods around the corner in Lewiston and Portland, Maine, across New England and the world. On this podcast, we'll discuss what God is doing on our team at the Cellar, through our partners in Maine, and invite guests from away to share how God is at work among them. I'm your host, Joel Furrow. Thanks for joining us.
Will understand this all by and by. Tempted and tried. I wonder why the good man dies, bad man thrives in Jesus Christ, 'cause he loves them both. We're all castaways in need of rope, hanging on by the last threads of our hope. In a house of miracles.
Welcome to episode 5 of the Cellar podcast. This has been really fun. I've really enjoyed just getting a chance to hang out with my staff, actually, and have these conversations. So thank you so much for joining us, for making time in your busy day, your week. If you're on the road, on your way to the grocery store, taking a run or a walk or washing dishes, thank you for taking this time to spend with us and learn how God is at work in the Cellar, in Portland, in Lewiston. It's a blessing that you're joining us. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and please give us a rating. Whatever app you're using to listen or watch this, give us a rating. It really actually goes a long ways. I say give us a truthful rating. I'll take a 5-star rating if you're willing to give it. But any involvement at all would be great. So thank you for that. Subscribe, give a rating right now if you haven't done that yet. I had the opportunity to sit down with Myra Ashley Woodard, our volunteer coordinator in Portland. She's been with us for the last year and a half or so in various capacities, first as a volunteer, then came on as an AmeriCorps member, and now is part of our team, part of our staff. She mostly coordinates our English language learning volunteers, which is a huge responsibility. And it allows us to serve hundreds and hundreds of immigrants in the Portland area, and then even more in our Lewiston location. Students like Jophany, who you're going to get a chance to meet today and hear some of his story. Jophany comes from the Republic of Congo, not to be confused with the Democratic Republic of Congo. We talk about that a little bit. He gives us a little insight on what it's like to immigrate to the United States, learn a new language when you know virtually nothing, and ultimately find a place to contribute both back in the Cellar and in his job here in Portland. It's a real blessing to sit down and talk with both of them, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you will too. You're not going to want to miss this one. Thank you both so much for being part of this, for showing up today. It's awesome. I'm really excited for our viewers and listeners to get to know both of you and hear your stories a little bit and hear what God's been doing at the Cellar through our English program. So I guess just, Myra Ashley, you're one of our employees. You're our volunteer coordinator. Could you talk a little bit about, kind of how that happened? How in the world did you come to be here?
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband and I are actually from Atlanta, Georgia. And
far away, from way away.
Yeah. So we're also New Mainers, so to speak. But we actually got connected with a church. It was a church plant at the time in Portland, Maine, called Centerpoint Church. Our site director, Jophany, also goes there and just really fell in love with the ministry model, the need in Portland, just the fact that Portland is, I think it's number 2 right now of the most post-Christian cities in the United States is Portland, Maine. And so we just really felt like the Lord was calling us to come and be a part of just his ministry and his work here in the city. And we didn't really know what that looked like at all, other than we're going to move to Maine and we're going to go to this church. Awesome. And worked some part-time different jobs with my degree, that's music education, but I had some free time, was looking for ways to get involved and serve. And so I actually ended up starting out at the Cellar as a teacher's assistant for a pretty new English language program back in 2022, and just absolutely fell in love with it and the students and the people and just the ministry in the heart of the Cellar, just to see people's needs and love them where they're at. And it's really the model of Jesus, right, is to see physical needs and meet them in order to build that relationship and meet a spiritual need as well. And so I really fell in love with that and was able through AmeriCorps and different opportunities to serve here for a summer in Portland. And then for a year, I helped with the English program here in Portland and at our site in Lewiston. And then have just been really blessed to be brought on to full-time staff to just continue growing this ministry and getting to know these students.
Yeah, we had to really, I guess, like restart an English program in Portland. There has been an English program for a long time as we've been serving so many immigrants for so many years, but never to the scale that it has been in the last several years. And
Yeah,
we had
absolutely.
to, we saw a huge growth really quickly, and we needed to staff that somehow. And, we were blessed with a willing volunteer to take that on with Myra Ashley. And along the way, and you kind of started working for pennies on the dollar with AmeriCorps, which is, you joined a long list of Root Cellar employees that started off making virtually nothing.
Yep.
To serve here, and then joined our team last year officially as a volunteer coordinator, which means primarily you're coordinating a big volunteer effort in the English program.
Yeah. They pretty much run the show. I'm just the man behind the curtain, so to speak, making sure people know where they're going. The English doesn't happen without our volunteers.
Absolutely. It's completely, we'll talk more about that. Jophany, we're just so grateful that you're here. You were one of those students in the first kind of wave of the English program here in Portland. And we're just so thankful that you're here, Jophany.
Hello, I'm Jophany. I'm from Congo, the little one, because there are two Congos, GRC and RC. I'm from RC, Republic of Congo, that means from Brazzaville. So I've been living in the US since September 2023. And then I joined Root Cellar in 2024. I think March 2024.
Jophany, how much English did you speak when you first came to the United States?
So I can say not really good.
Not very good.
Yeah, I can't understand, but speaking was like a little bit difficult for me. But now it's going great.
Yeah. So you are from Brazzaville in the Republic of Congo, the RC. Most people, we know about the DRC, but we don't know about your home country very much. Could you describe what life is like, what was like for you and when you lived there, and then maybe what life's like now? Could you describe your homeland?
Yeah, sure. I think everybody that doesn't know about it because it's so small than GRC. It's so small than GRC, and for me, it's a beautiful country. Even if now I can say it's unsafe to live there because of the power. In Africa, the president, all of the president are, I can say, like dictature over there. So you can't talk anything against them. So that's why I got some problem with one of them. So I wasn't safe there. I was obliged to leave my country.
Yeah, we have, in this country, it's very common to speak out against the president. Regardless of who the president is, it's something that we do very, very quickly. No matter if you're Republican or Democrat or whatever, speaking out against the president is very common in the United States. And what you're describing is in your country currently, and speaking out against the president makes it you a target. Could you describe what life is like under? I mean, it sounds more like a dictatorship than a presidency.
Yeah.
What could you describe what life was like for you? I mean, it's a beautiful country.
Good. Congo is a beautiful. Yeah, Congo is a beautiful country. It's so small. There are wonderful things over there. I think it's good for people who are always agree with the power, but for people who are against the power, it's so bad. It's getting bad day by day. And when I talk to people who are over there, they told me it's getting bad and bad. Yeah.
We're very glad that you made it to the United States, and grateful for that. Yeah, I mean, I want to hear more about your story and your experience at the Root Cellar in a minute. Myra Ashley, could you describe a little bit what it was like, kind of in the beginning stages of kind of getting into English language learning? You don't have a background in teaching English, and you were a teacher, but you kind of jumped into this English programming. What was that like for you, and what kind of inspired you to do that?
Yeah, I think originally it was just a need. I came and was like, I'll do anything. I'll input volunteer logs. Put me in the office, I'll answer phones. And it just became a need to have a teacher's assistant in one of the beginner classes. And in reality, that is still true today, because at that beginner level, just imagine if you were going to go learn French and then the teacher only spoke in French as she's trying to teach you French. How much are you really going to feel like you understand? And that's really what our students are walking into, even today in English classes, is they speak very little English, and the teacher is trying to teach them English by using English. And so where an assistant is really helpful is that you can do some more like role play, acting out, feeding off of each other, just in using different instructions. Hey, Myra Ashley, can you go open the door for me? And watching somebody physically go do it and understand is this like, there's a lot more understanding in education terms. We would call it scaffolding that you get to create because there's multiple people demonstrating and engaging with students. The beautiful thing is that we're maintaining dignity because it's adult. It's not like I'm an adult to a child trying to teach a child something or how to do something or, basic life skills. I mean, they know this stuff. They just know a different word for most of this stuff. So getting to this point where we're actually working together to figure things out, instead of it being all on me as a teacher to like, I'm going to make you figure it out and I have to figure out how to help you. It becomes this give and take that was fun to learn, but it was a lot of experimentation and a lot of gracious responses and feedback from the students. Even if it's like, no, teacher, I don't know. Or even seeing the light bulb go off, you're like, oh, okay, that worked. They got it. Like the faces light up, the eyes light up, and it's okay. They understood me there. How do I go do that again? And so the beauty of just like experimenting together, learning together, because really at the Root Cellar, that's always been what it's about. And what I push with my teachers now is just, look, if it comes to building relationship or going towards the academic learning objective of this English vocabulary, like the English is going to come, build the relationship. They need a friend.
See you smiling and shaking your head a lot. I mean, what's it like walking into a place where, you're sure no one speaks your language? What is that experience like for you?
No one speaks your language. It's very difficult to understand, to communicate. So I think if two can't communicate, it's so bad. They can't work in the same way. They can't. Yeah. I think communication is the most important thing.
Communication is the best thing. Yeah. It's funny. Something that I see sometimes with new volunteers is that they will speak English louder. They will start talking louder as if that will help. I've had the experience of living in the Middle East and kind of walking into a restaurant and realizing I don't know, no one speaks English here. It's on me to figure this out. And it is so hard. It's so challenging. I remember I had to figure out how to pay the water bill and the electricity bill, in this, I was living in the country of Jordan, so these things that, just are very common, normal in these normal experiences, but language makes it that much harder. What's been something for you that's been especially, this was challenging. This was hard. You had to figure this out. Was there anything that comes to mind?
I think it's the beginning was like listening when I came to the US because American people speak too fast. Too fast, sorry.
It's true.
I was listening. No, I can't say I can't understand. I can't. Yeah, the problem for me now is speaking, but I think step by step, I'm doing better. Step by step.
The Root Cellar engages neighbors and volunteers
to cultivate social, economic, and spiritual wholeness as part of God's kingdom.
We are able to do this work thanks to generous individuals like you. To volunteer, make a gift, or learn more,
join us today at therootcellar.org.
How many languages do you speak, Jophany?
French. Now I'm still learning English. Lingala. What is Congo? 4.
4?
4 languages. Okay, that's 4. That's 3 more than I speak. Which is amazing, and you are adding English in such a incredible way where it's impressive. It's hard work. So it's incredibly challenging. So take us back a little bit. You came to the United States. You came to Maine. How did you get connected with the Root Cellar?
So when I came to Maine, I think it's normal. So I'm living in the English speaker countries. I have to learn. I was looking somewhere to learn English, and someone told me about adult education. And when I got there, they were so busy, no places. And then they gave me some address, and I came here. And now I can say I'm good here. I also like my family. They are so amusing people here. So welcome, so good. And I remember my interview was with Myra Ashley. She was so good with me, and yeah, and she told me that my level were like intermediate level. So and till now I'm still learning as an intermediate level English with teacher George, with TP. They are so great, good teacher. They like what I do. And then a couple of months later, she suggests me to become like assistant teacher. So it was a good challenge for me.
Yeah, Myra Ashley, talk a little bit about that. Like, that's something that I think is unique to our program, and that we invite current students to kind of take on the role of a assistant teacher in maybe one of the lower levels. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
So our highest level of English classes is intermediate, which has quite a large range. Somebody like Jophany here, who's very conversational and capable, I would say Jophany is maybe in the higher level range of our intermediate level. And then, kind of varies down a little bit. But at that level, they're speaking and they're learning, all the different verb conjugations, which most actual native English speakers probably don't know all of them. We just use them without thinking about it. So they're doing all of this academic.
Could you break down what some verb conjugation is for those of us who have not listened to grammar since the 4th grade or something?
It's true. I don't actually I'm not confident to even say all the names, but like present tense, I am, past tense, I was, and then you get into the I have been, I like what? They're Jophany, help me. I don't even know. Like, this is your test for teacher. Yeah. See if teacher George is covered it.
You're kind of proving your point. You use these words just normally, and but these are kind of the finer points of actually having a conversation in the English language, which makes it hard. Yeah. So what kind of role do those assistant teachers help in those?
What it does is it actually serves those intermediate students and those beginner classes, because what you do is, obviously, we hear all the time, you learn by teaching. And so to get in a space where you're actually helping someone else understand boosts your own confidence in using the language, using the skills, different things like that. So it actually serves the higher level student that it's actually assisting. But then what it does for our beginners is there's somebody in there who has been in their shoes at some point in time who probably speaks a language that somebody else in the room is going to speak. For instance, Jophany speaks French. I would say the majority of our English students have a little bit of French. And so what it does is it takes some pressure off of the teacher to be like, do all the role model and the demonstration and all of that. And when something's really hard to communicate, the teacher can just say, hey, Jophany, can you explain that really quick in French? Even if it's like just a classroom instruction that's super simple. So it takes a little bit of pressure off of the beginner students and the teacher in the classroom to have somebody in there who's just a couple steps ahead that can, help alleviate some of the language barrier, can be where they've been, and then can also serve as inspiration of, look, I've been here, you can do it too. It just takes work and time and patience, but to see someone ahead of you and realize this is possible. It feels impossible right now, but it is possible, is a really powerful thing. And so I would say that's kind of how it serves. And it also just creates the community aspect of the Root Cellar that we really desire for our students to experience. These higher level students actually have some ownership and the ability to give back, because the English class is not just something that they are receiving, it's also something that they're able to give as well. And so that partnership, that I think one of our values is interdependence. I think that's one of the best ways that we actually live that out, is by saying, look, you've got this skill and we're serving you as we should, under, the model of Jesus, but also you have this opportunity to also come and serve and help us help you, basically. And it's a really cool opportunity for everybody involved.
We have built our English programs in both cities to kind of complement the adult education classes in each city. And it's not to say anything negative about them at all, just that we've kind of recognized there's a need. I mean, Myra Ashley, could you describe maybe the scale a little bit? Most Jophany's story is he came to us from, adult ed did not have enough room for him to join. He ended up coming to the Root Cellar it was referred from the Root Cellar. That's the story for most of our students. But what's the scale? How many students are we serving?
Yeah, so I think this semester from January to end of May, that's how long our semester was, that's correct, I think we registered almost 400 students. Our average number of students we served per week, which is probably a more accurate or indicative number, is 150. So English students across all levels, 150 students would walk through the doors of the Root Cellar in Portland on a week-to-week basis. Some of those people who have really good attendance, which are unfortunately in the lower percentage, could be twice a week, but at the least it's 150 that we're serving. And really what we've learned, and what Joel actually tried to tell me early on, and I didn't listen, but I had to learn by experience, is that rolling registration is, or as close to it as we can get, is the best way to serve people, because you're throwing out this really big net and maybe they stick. Or maybe you find a Jophany that suddenly the Root Cellar is his family and he'll come whenever I call and need him to sub for a class, because he's done that too. And so, but you're serving people because they're constantly coming and they're constantly needing something. And so doing our very best to keep the door open for as long as we can really does help and does complement adult education, because adult education is constantly full. And when we started, it was like 500 people on one wait list. And then there was an additional waiting list to the wait list. There was another 500. And it was just they're overwhelmed. It's too much. And I think they're down to 130 people on a wait list right now.
Yeah, there's still a wait list today. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, there's still people waiting. And so to be able, for someone who's maybe new to America, living in a shelter, to come and be welcomed in and say, we have a place for you, is a really cool thing that we get to offer.
Yeah.
We want you to come here because there's a place for you and you have somewhere that you can belong. And our teachers are coming at you with Christian coming at you, coming to you. They're coming to you with Christian, values and backgrounds that just desire to love you like Jesus. And so you're not just learning English, like you're coming to be a part of a community and to find a relationship.
That's one of the things that's really important for us, is to be a welcoming environment. And that rolling admission feature of our program, I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah.
Because we're not an official adult ed organization, we don't have to be accredited in the same way or anything like that. We don't have those restraints. We can be pretty nimble. And as someone walks through the door, one of the most important things is to, one, be a welcoming environment for them, but two, just learning the language by speaking, by practice, is what they're wanting to do. Jophany he said earlier, just how much you immediately said, I want to learn English. I need to learn English, and that's that desire, I need to learn, I want to learn. And if we can provide an environment where they can just show up and immediately start learning, we've seen, Myra Ashley, you could talk a little bit about this, but we've seen these students, their willingness and desire to learn and do the hard work is just one of the most encouraging things that I've seen.
Yeah. And I would say they're inspirational on our end. Like, I talk to every teacher that I've worked with, and you think that you're volunteering and you're going to give something to them, and then you get to know them and you experience the work ethic, the desire to learn, often the experience of faith and the maturity of faith that a lot of these students bring in, and you realize that you're actually getting something from them and you're actually receiving more than when you thought that you were going to give. But it's just really cool to see them come in, be willing to do the hard work, and desire to be an American. Like, they've come to America and they want to be here and be a part of it. And that's, some students, there's not as much of that motivation. Sometimes it's, I just need to check this box because someone's telling me that I need English. But the ones that I would say are the majority are the ones that are willing and ready. If you're going to give them something, they're going to take it and run with it. It's inspirational, on our end, because we can't do that. Like, it has to be self-motivated. We just hop in and say, how can I help?
Yeah. Jophany, what are you doing now? You've been in Maine for a few years. You've been in English classes for a few years. What are you doing with this knowledge today?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help other people, the new immigrants, because as I said before, also assistant teacher. So there are some new immigrants. We come here, they are still a little bit shame, afraid to speak. So I generally encourage them to speak, to try to explain themselves. That's the only way they can do better. They can learn fast. And then with teacher Joss, I also learn a lot. Because like Marshall said before, by teaching, you are also learning. Yeah.
You're also working now, right?
Yeah.
You have a pretty important job at the airport, I understand.
Yes, I work for Delta Airline.
You work for Delta? Yeah.
Yeah. For Delta.
What's your job with Delta?
I work as a ramp agent. So ramp agent means that
ramp agent. Okay. Well, and I don't know. I should know this, but what does a ramp agent do?
Oh my God! So I work on the ramp. That means that to load and offload bags from the bins, to bring the plane to Marshall, something like that.
So you're the flagger.
Yeah. To Marshall, to bring the plane at the gate.
Yeah. So those tens of thousands of tourists that fly into Maine, to Portland, to PWM, when they fly in, there's a good chance if you're on a Delta flight, they might see you down there with those batons, bringing the plane in, right?
Yeah, bringing the plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Excellent.
Every time I fly out, I'm like, Jophany, are you working? Are you gonna be there? Are you gonna see you?
Maybe one day. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe one day I'll have
I'm
a
doing
window
good.
seat.
Now I'm also lead there. Now I'm a lead. So
A lead.
A lead. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Moving up. Jophany, what are your goals here in the United States? What are you hoping for in the future?
So I can't say from now my goal is to learn English, to improve my English skills. And then after that I want to go back to school. To the university, maybe the college like SMCC.
So Myra Ashley, one of the things that we hear a lot about the immigrant community in general is kind of this idea that they're either going to be taking our jobs or that they're not working or that they're just kind of like taking and taking and taking. People say that, what do you wish people heard? What do you wish people knew about at least the students we work with?
I think what I wish I want people to know is the work ethic is there. Oftentimes I am pretty humbled to hear, the wait time they have to wait in order to even get a work permit. If they could, get to America and get a job the next day, they would be working.
Jophany, how long did it take for you to get a work permit, get work authorization?
6 months.
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months after to apply in my case, my asylum seeker. So
as an asylum seeker.
Yeah.
So it's
so there's a
6 months.
6-month waiting period effectively for work authorization.
Yeah.
And so obviously you're willing to work, you want to work, you have, skills to give.
Yeah. And even, that we talk about Portland has the massive homeless, tent population, panhandling kind of. Yeah. Like panhandling on the streets.
Right.
And I've never once seen an immigrant from Central Africa, the people that we're serving ever, though they would probably have pretty reasonable excuse from American standards, but they want to come to America and they want to do it right and they want to work hard. And so, it's actually not it's not true that they're trying to take, they're actually desiring to come and contribute. And I think another important piece is that they have a lot to contribute. And even just from the point of, if we talk about the faith community, the majority, a large amount of English students that I have met and built strong relationships with are already strong believers and have experience with faith and Christ and the kingdom of God in a way that my sheltered American, Southern Baptist experience just can't comprehend almost. And it's awesome to see the family of God coming together in that way. There's these people love Jesus and are ready to reach people for him, and they're coming here to come alongside us as the church, both of us together as the Big C church, to push forward the kingdom of God. And so it becomes this sense of they want to contribute. So I would say 1, they have a lot of work ethic. 2, they have a lot to contribute in terms of skill sets, experience, faith, all that comes alongside that.
You're describing kind of what God's been doing in bringing more believers, more followers of Jesus to Maine. You talked earlier about, how your church was a church plant for this location where there's not a lot of people who are growing Christians, let alone church members or part of an organization. Many of our churches are getting smaller in this city and the state.
Yep.
And what we've seen in recent years is just kind of an explosion of churches showing up, becoming a part of the fabric of what God's doing in the state, primarily because the immigrant community has just grown so drastically, specifically through the African immigrants that have joined this community. So yeah, it's kind of an amazing story to see that develop. It's a hot button topic. Immigration, something that is become this like big political rallying point, kind of this pro or anti thing that's out there. I think it's interesting. We're kind of at the Root Cellar, we're more concerned about the people that are like just right in front of us. And what we see is that this beautiful community that's coming together. Jophany, you described the Root Cellar as your family here in Maine, which just is, we're so blessed by that. Could you talk a little bit more about when you say that? I mean, are you thinking about one of your teachers? Are you thinking about, who are you thinking about when you say the Root Cellar is your family?
So when I'm talking about Root Cellar is your family, I'm talking about everything here. People, teachers, everybody. It's like your family. They not only teach you English, so they teach you everything here in the US. And they also give you help. I remember sometimes Myra Ashley gave me some bus tickets to share to the students. And when I was doing that, they were so happy because sometimes some students were walking to come here, to come to Root Cellar. That's why I say it's family.
Yeah.
Well, Jophany, we are just really thankful that you are part of this family at the Root Cellar. We're thankful for the role you've played here. You've been you've done a great job of just talking about the Root Cellar to other students, other English students. You've just been this great ambassador for us. You joined us at our 40th anniversary celebration here in Portland and kind of shared more of your story there. It's been a blessing to get to know you. And I'm just really, really grateful for your contribution today to this conversation. Myra Ashley, there's still a need. We have over 20 volunteers running this program, currently serving week to week about 150 students. But over the course of a semester, we're looking at over 400 or so. So this is a huge need. How can people get in contact with you? What are the roles that they could be playing? What does that look like to volunteer in this program?
Call the Root Cellar, email me. I love my email. It's so fun. It's just myraashley@therootcellar.org. Send me an email, say, I want to help with English, and we will get you plugged in because we never run out of spots. But I would say probably the roles, we're always looking for people who are interested in being a lead English teacher. The more classes we offer, the more students we can serve, and the smaller our classes can be, so you can, build relationship with students on a deeper level. And we really don't, I should add, we don't just throw you straight into teaching the lead English class. I've made that mistake a couple times. And what we do is, if that's something you're interested in, then you'll assist with an experienced English teacher for a period of time and get a feel for it, see if that's something that is really a place you would be comfortable or interested in, maybe stepping out of your comfort zone.
It's you get a chance to hang out with incredible people like Jophany.
Yep.
Myra Ashley, you're describing the support structure that we've kind of put in place. We've really put our resources in supporting a volunteer group. That's that's primarily how we're making this happen. It's how we've been able to scale it up. We couldn't possibly afford to put together that 20 teachers full time. Yep. But the volunteers have made this possible, really, day in and day out. They're absolutely incredible. So if you'd love to like more information about that, if you'd like to support it, this is a great way. There's so much. Every dollar gets stretched specifically in this program. Hundreds of people are supported through a relatively small program budget, and it's really, really incredible to see God at work through it. You can be part of welcoming the stranger, welcoming the immigrant among us, just as the native born, what Leviticus talks about. And that's really what this program looks like. So Jophany, Myra Ashley, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Root Cellar podcast. And I'd love to have you back soon. Jophany will have you back later to get an update. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Joel.
See you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Root Cellar Podcast. This ministry depends on the faithful giving of individuals just like you. For us, it's an honor to be partnered with so many in the work of loving our neighbors. When you give monthly, you create jobs for teens, mentor children, welcome immigrants, and expand God's kingdom in our cities. To learn more, volunteer, or make a gift, join us at therootcellar.org.
Know all about it. Farther along, understand why. So cheer up, my brothers, live in the sun.